Hi, my name is Autumn Payne. I'm a visual journalist. I'm here with Stephen Walker today. He's a therapist at Middle Way Health and he's a Buddhist teacher. And he has a wonderful perspective that combines both Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And we're talking today about mental health. Thank you for joining us again.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Good to
So,
see you.
yes, I stole something from your office just now that we could talk about,
Okay.
which
Oh,
is
nice.
this.
The rock. Yeah.
So, he has this rock in his office that says never give more than 49%.
Right.
So, I was hoping we could talk about this today because I'd never heard anyone say that before. What does this mean and how does it apply to mental health?
It means that we shouldn't give away all our energy, that we need to stay in balance. And uh, we're not here to sacrifice ourselves at this point. We're here to continue to be of service. So when I say don't give more than 49%, I'm saying don't tip over. Don't give to the point where you're sacrificing yourself and you won't be able to continue. So,
Mhm.
so many people come into therapy because actually they've given too much and they're exhausted and depleted and burned out and out of balance. So, if we want to give more, we have to increase our capacity.
Mm,
So, say if you want to give more, then your container needs to be bigger than when you only give a certain percentage, you're still giving a lot. So,
mhm.
actually, on a day to day basis, we should only probably give as much as we would normally give at the blood bank.
Oh,
From the,
wow.
yeah. So, maybe we should only be giving 10 or 15%.
Mm.
But
So,
yeah.
how do we increase this container? I mean, it feels like for a lot of people, you're going through your life. I mean, I'm a mother, I run a business, so you're doing all of these things that are giving things that take up a lot of time. So maybe it's not time. Is it more of an emotional 49% that we're talking here? How do we grow capacity to give or gauge where we're at in that?
It's basically learning how to manage our energy better, right? We have
Mm,
kind of an internal and external energy grid, but mostly I'm talking about our internal energy state. Generally, uh, is undeveloped. We don't know that we can actually contain a lot more energy and emotion than we think. So generally, our
mm,
view of ourselves internally actually is quite limited. It's kind of like if we had a car with a gas tank that was only 1 gallon, right? We'd have to make stops all the time. So
oh, yeah.
there are ways to increase our inner capacity to hold and store emotions and remember things, and uh, then when we do use them, we're not depleted. We're not using up all our reserves. So basically, that
Mm.
don't give more than 49% means don't except in maybe an emergency. Don't use up your reserves.
Mhm. Okay. So how do we this is perfect segue into like what are some of those techniques that expand your capacity or increase your gas tank for, you know, your own energy?
Generally, I'm going to start actually by building some internal gauges. So even
Mm.
before we increase them, people have to feel like when they're close to running out of energy, for starters, because most people
Mm.
don't have any internal gauges. So the body and the mind have to be synchronized. So it's like taking hunger. Like when someone has an eating disorder, their synchronization of their body and mind is off, right? They don't know when they're
Mhm.
full. They don't know when they're empty. So uh, spending the time to synchronize those is important. And those, the various techniques, we could call them meditative or cognitive behavioral or even trauma techniques that bring the body and mind back into connection. So we're
Mhm.
sensitive to our system. We know when we can give more, and we know when we can't give any more.
Mhm.
So interestingly, a lot of people, they don't use their capacity very much, so it shrinks, right? So it's
Oh,
just like a physical workout, you can increase your energetic capacity, but it has to be slow, and it has to be based on a measurement system. So we're sensitive to like, oh, that's giving me more capacity, and that's taking it away.
so it
So
sounds like the first thing is noticing what's going on.
so that's where mindfulness comes in a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
So most people don't know when they're really starting something or stopping something. So of course, like in yoga, breath work can be really important to know. It's like, well, this is when you're starting a breath, and this is when you're ending a breath. So
Mm.
that translates into knowing when we're starting a thought and ending a thought, and knowing
Mm.
when we're starting an emotion, which is an energy with thought, and we're ending it. But most people
Mm.
don't know when they're starting and stopping. Things just get piled up together. We're kind of all cramped.
And
So
this probably looks different to everyone too, right? So, the using introverts, extroverts as an example. So one thing that is energizing and not giving away energy to an extrovert may be very draining to an introvert is my and understanding where you are in that. Is that what you're talking about
that,
or part of what
well,
you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's a good point. I mean, we gather energy and store it, differently.
Mhm.
But whether it's stored kind of internally in an introverted way or externally in our friends or our projects or something, we still have to have measurement systems that are sensitive to uh, when we're full, when we're empty, when we have enough. That we need those internal gauges, and
Mhm.
that does involve being mindful moment to moment, actually.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So obviously a lot comes back to paying attention in a certain way, paying attention
Uh-huh.
in a present moment, cause and effect way, because usually we're not in the present that much, and we're usually not thinking cause and effect. We're not usually thinking, how do I initiate something, and what's going to be the effect of it, and then how do I renew it or stop it. People don't really think it through that much.
Mhm.
They're kind of reactive instead of responders. So we want to be responders instead of reactors.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really interesting. So 49% could look differently to different people depending upon how their energy works, maybe, and how they're approaching the situation.
Yeah, and just kind of using that kind of metaphor is important because most of us in America anyway are brought up give 100%.
Mhm.
So
Or
it
110%.
yeah, 110% or whatever,
Yes.
give it all.
At the
So
job interview, you say, "I give 110%."
right. Eesh.
Yeah.
So we know that person's going to be burned out soon. Uh, so that there's two things. It's a sacrifice model and it's an unlimited energy model. So we know
Mm.
environmentally unlimited energy is a cruel myth. And
Oh.
we should know psychologically and spiritually that um, we shouldn't be operating from a sacrifice model.
That makes
We
sense.
want to be working from a maintenance model. We want to be working from a giving model, but we want giving that's continuous and steady rather than dramatic sacrifices.
Mhm.
Those are,
Now you said maintenance model. What does that mean?
well, can we maintain this level of energy at
Uh,
the amount of time and energy it takes to do a project?
mhm.
So the big project is, well, maybe we have this life that's so long, right? So actually, we want to be thinking to create a lifestyle that we can keep going till the end. It's
Mhm.
going to have changes, but so much of American, maybe modern society is kind of a boom and bust approach. Like
Yeah,
just
that's true.
go until I hit the wall, then I'll deal with that, or somebody rescue me, or I figure something else out, and that's a real addictive
Mhm.
lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm
So I think,
familiar with that one, yep.
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna show The Rock again for
yeah.
latecomers,
So, so
so
actually, that's the max. So actually, we we should just be giving, if we have a large capacity and we give 10%, it doesn't sound like much, but it is a lot. So if you say to people, just as an example, like if they belong to a church or a yoga center or an organization, and you say, this organization asks us to give 10% of our income, most people would kind of suck in their
that's
breath
a
a little bit.
lot.
I don't
Yeah.
know, that's a lot. So it actually is a lot to give 10% of our energy. But most of the
Mm.
time, we do need most of the energy just to keep ourselves in shape. And if we're not staying in shape mentally or physically or spiritually, then face it, we're just going to be annoying and a burden on others. So we'll be the folks that, run to help others, but then, rescuers, but then those rescuers need to be rescued themselves.
Mhm. Yep, yep,
So
makes
we want to
sense.
be intelligent helpers and intelligent rescuers that can, rescue, come back and rescue another day or help another day, not to have a dramatic burnout.
So does that mean saying no sometimes?
Yeah, a lot of times it goes, I say, well, no, I can't do it, but I know someone who can, or no, I can't do it right
Referrals.
now.
Yes,
Yep, referrals.
referral.
Hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Love this
Sure,
rock,
sure. Yeah,
this
thanks for
thing. You can
showing
write.
the rock. Yeah, love
Yes,
it.
I didn't know if you noticed me stealing it, but
Yeah, I
here it
didn't.
is.
You're very clever.
Clever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll see you next
Ciao.
time.
Bye.
Okay, bye.